Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BPL Season 3. I am Volshok, and I am joined by some other prestigious casters for the BPL and from the Beyond All Reason community. I would specifically like to throw to Mr. Barcast, who is the organizer of the BPL. Barcast, talk to us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Volshok, for the introduction. I'm Barcast, so we got LSR here, Zateo, LDM. We're going to do a little bit of a recap of the round of 16 and some predictions for the round of 8 that's coming up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I am excited. I think this was actually, I enjoyed pretty much all the groups in the round of 8. I thought that they were pretty awesome. If you guys were not able to catch them, I probably should have said spoilers before I went to this page. Apologies. These are going to be a little, just a couple spoilers here. These are the groups. So we had the 16 players that were in 4 groups of 4. And here are the 8 that made it out. They've got the little golden chalices next to their names. Barcast, you were the primary caster for Group A. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it was a pretty competitive group between the 3 other players outside of Chisato, right? So kind of all these players were contending. 3 of the players were contending for second place out of the group, really. And if all these 4 series, I think Kuchi versus Alt 4 would probably be the one to watch. So if you haven't seen the group yet, maybe start with that one, or check it out.
Yeah, LSR, are you surprised that Goopy didn't make it out, or do you feel like Ubivado is just so strong?
It's interesting. I'm getting with the score. I mean, Chisato should beat Goopy. Goopy has been always like a pretty aggressive style, and I think Chisato has like really good responses, I would assume, in general. And yeah, it looks like he got lucky towards the end, and I'm really curious on how the last match went.
Yeah,
Did Ubivator knock him out?
I didn't actually see it. How was that last match? Wait, like how did was it one-sided, Barcast, the Ubivator Goopy?
I'm trying to think back. It was a 2-0, right? So that feels one-sided, right, on paper. But maybe Goopy got a little unlucky in some of the matchups, right? Or just situations, so it happens. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
I was gonna hop onto Group B, which I think was one of the Group A and Group B were 2 of the hype groups. Zateo, we cast this one. How'd you feel about it?
It was a pretty tight game, kind of similar to A, where it was kind of like we kind of expected Teddy to do well, but in terms of the second player moving out or moving on, we weren't sure who it was going to be. Between Modulo and X Factor and Contra, like all strong players for sure. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised with how it ended up.
One of us was predicting Contra to be high. Was it Barcast, if I remember correctly? Somebody had to put their money on the Contra. One of you guys.
I may have put Contra first. I also may have put Teddy third.
Just disrespectful. Poor Teddy.
Yeah, it's hard to know like exactly how these players, what kind of shape these players are in, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think X Factor said after he was kind of like, well, I haven't been playing as much, been a little burned out, and he had a hotkey issue. So
yeah, right. Issues crop up for sure.
You said he was trolling super hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad my friend Contra got through though, because he's been practicing pretty hard. Modulo as well, been practicing really hard. So it was a pretty close competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, it's pretty crazy. Both Teddy and Chisato, they didn't drop a single game. Right, Chisato 4-0, Teddy 4-0, and even in the qualifiers, I mean, Teddy went all the way through the qualifiers. When I was looking back, I think he dropped 3 games, or 2 games across like all the qualifiers. It's just that was impressive. All right, for Group C, I really enjoyed this group. I felt like this was a group in predictions we were all like, all right, we think Zlo's going to get first. And he didn't, which was kind of shocking. He did make it through in second, but Sash Korin kind of stole first place from him, which I think a lot of people had him going in second, but that was a little surprising to me. LDM, did you watch any of these games?
I watched some of them, but I'm also not remembering which ones I watched. But I definitely watched some of them. But
There's a lot of games. It's hard to remember.
there
all of
was
them.
a lot, yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, I think, right? With Sashcore, and he seems very, very strong, whereas like Shoddy and Lapaka seemed a little more like maybe would need a good day to beat Sash or Slow, but
Yeah, no,
I think
that's
beating Sash. Like I was on a voice call with Shoddy when he played. I didn't watch the games, but I heard him like stress over a little bit. I think Sash uses the whatever. I think it was similar to X Factor strategies where he just like piles a lot of tanks. Right, we saw it versus Turkey as well in the grudge match. Right, it's a huge army and suddenly he has like twice the medal amount. So you have to spend. And I think the secret sauce Teddy showed us, I think maybe last season, that was maybe on the Jazz Cup, right? It's just you have to use mines versus Sashko and you have to counter him. And if you score like 2 or 3 mines, I think the Sashkorin was the guy who drove on the mines all the time and just died every single piece of equipment died. There was one guy that did that, and I do believe it was Sash. So yeah, these players need to improve. You cannot build more eco. You have to be playing defensively, and the aggression pays off. It's modernized strategies. Although I haven't seen the matches, so maybe I'm talking wrong, but I assume that's what's transpired.
No, Sash did quite a bit. Sash also executed a really, really nice comm bomb. And one of the ones he comm bomb was actually Zlo. Sorry, comp drop.
Comm walk or comm drop. Comm drop.
Yeah.
Comm bombing is kind of harder than anyone.
He comm dropped Zlo on Heartbreak, and it was one of those things where I felt like Zlo actually had a pretty good reaction. Right, he immediately started to build an LLT, but Sash just killed the lab, walked at him, went around the commander, and then was able to degun the LLT before it finished, and the game just ended. So yeah, interesting. So from Group C, Zlo and Sash make it through, so they're in the round of 8. And in terms of a recommended series, I would probably say Zlo Lapatka, just because it was kind of a slugfest. Yeah, and one of them,
like those players.
Yeah, I mean, they're both macro players. One of those games, you end up with like 5 dragons, so that's always kind of a treat in 1v1. And finally, Group D, which I think we all, is a pretty easy prediction. Barcast out in 4th, Stardom in 4th. No, I'm kidding. Barcast, talk to me about this group you're in. I feel it was a pretty strong, pretty scary group. How did it feel playing in these matches?
It was fun. I had a lot of fun preparing for him, practicing, thinking about the matchups. Maybe a little disappointed, but it's good to see, strong players get through, make it on to the round of 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Stardom, I think, is kind of like I don't know if you'd say a fan favorite, but he's really popular. So it's always fun when you get to see him kind of go through, just because he's an interesting player to watch. I was kind of surprised by Thurxie, right? I mean, Zateo, how long has Thurxie been in bar? I feel like he's improved a lot recently, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly when he switched over to bar, but I mean, he's definitely played RTS before and has been kind of grinding the 1v1 scene and just loves playing the 1v1 games. So I see him on quite often, just kind of grinding it out. So he's been practicing a lot, and I've seen him grow like pretty substantially over the past year. So really pretty strong player at this point. So
yeah, so Group D, Stardom, Thurxie make it through. I'm trying to remember the recommended series. I would probably say Stardom and Thurxie was the best series. Those were all pretty tight games, pretty close games.
Pretty good for Thurxie taking the one game off to Stardom. Stardom's usually pretty sweaty when it comes to 1v1 and defending his pride. He's been calling everybody to play him, so he's practicing and cooking, and he has his own takes and his binds, and very happy. I'm sadly my Vader prediction didn't pay off. I actually checked his history and he didn't play before the last and had some keyboard issues, so he actually wrote to me, was like a little bit disappointed to me, and we talked a little bit, but have to practice to win, not be active. It seems like most practiced players, except unless you're Teddy, you need to practice to beat in advance.
Yeah, well, Teddy's a little unique. Everyone calls him washed, and he just comes back and wins tournaments. So
yeah,
well, he practices on the tournament, right? So he only, as I said last season, he made the oopsie by trying to practice against Chisato, literally
Yeah.
picking him first to get like this fast track practice going on. Resulted in him knocking out this one. He seems like smooth cruising, and looks like he will be smooth cruising, possibly even to the finals as well here.
I mean, we'll see. So if you guys haven't seen brackets yet, this is the round of 8. Barcast, how are these how are matchups seeded, or how are they picked?
It's something like the person who makes it first out of Group A plays the second place out of Group B. So first out of Group B plays second from Group A.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. So let's start up at the top. Round of 8, Chisato versus Contra. LDM, what do you think?
I mean, this feels like an easy one for me, man. It's hard to bet against Chisato. It's hard to bet against Chisato. Like, even if Contra is like really good, it's Chisato. I don't know.
I love who doesn't love a good underdog story? I mean,
Yeah.
Contra has been performing as well, right? It would be awesome to cheer for Contra, I think, here as well.
And Contra's been grinding, right?
Ultimately, because if Contra does this, it looks pretty smooth him for actually to make to the grand finals, and it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's a pretty interesting stylistic clash there as well, right? Because Contra's super aggressive. Like, you see him constantly do the arm bot where he opens like 7 tick, 1 con, and it's just like trying to chip and harass. And Chisato in 1s is a little different than Chisato in 8s, but half the time when I think of Chisato, I just think of an Aphis farm in some random corner.
Yeah, he's certainly known
not
for
so much
that.
of ones, but
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I've been kind of helping Contra practice a little bit and like looking at Chisato games, or at the at the tournament games, and just seeing how he plays and his play style, and just like looking at his play, it's like, man, like Contra, like your style, I'm not quite sure how it's going to like pair up, but it looks like Chisato just does extremely well with defense, and then is also building up super well. So he just like does everything really well, and it's really hard for anybody to compete with that.
Yeah, he's just super efficient. It's funny. I forgot when we were talking about it one time, but someone was like, "What makes Chisato so good?" And it's like, he's really good at decision making and everything else, but he also is just more efficient than so many other players. Like, he's really good at not floating a ton of metal, or floating metal intentionally. So that is definitely going to be an incredible battle. And I think, similar to what LSR said, I think the winner of that might be able to go all the way to the semifinals. Yeah,
I would also like that Chisato with the cheese, right? Ragnar prepared this cheese with on the Heartbreak Hill with going for the bombers, the ones that one tap commander if they land, and he was able to do the circles. I don't know how he know. He said he has this FAF experience that you have to literally circle. I didn't know that, and I played this game for like 2 or 3 years on how to dodge the projectiles, right? But he had some innate knowledge from like completely different game, and he was able to execute it on a spot and not get sniped. So yeah,
Interesting.
That is the most Chisato answer to something.
Yeah.
All right. So let's run through really quick. I'm gonna go for the upset. I am going Contra. Barcast, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Chisato wins. Maybe 2-1. Like, I'd be happy if it was 2-1, but I think Chisato's gonna take it.
LDM.
I'm pretty sure it's just Chisato the whole way. I don't know. It's gonna be hard for Contra, I think.
All right. LSR, I think you said Chisato too, right?
Chisato, I have all my predictions actually unchallenged. They're very conservative.
All right. And Zateo?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely pick Chisato. I mean, Contra has definitely leveled up recently, but I don't think he's quite got the experience to match Chisato quite yet. So I would hope for a 2-1 though.
All right. Moving on to the next one, we have Sash Korin and we have Thurxie for this. And wait, hold on, let me look. How did they do? So wait, Sash went 4-0 in groups in Group C, and Thurxie went 4 and wait, he can't have gone 4 and 5. Oh no, he did go 4 and 5.
I mean, he lost 2 games versus Stardom. He lost 1 game versus me.
So sorry, he's 4 and 3, not 4 and 5. I wrote that wrong. Sorry. So Sash 4-0 and Thurxie 4-3 in groups. How do we feel about this? Arcast, what are you thinking?
Which group? The Sashcore and Thurxie?
Sashcore and Thurxie.
That's probably going to be the best quarterfinal, or maybe I'm hoping it is. It's a little bit of a rematch.
Of a grudge match, yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to this one. It should be pretty hype, and I mean, someone's gonna move on. Someone's gonna get eliminated. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, if you guys aren't aware, Thurxie has a very unique, let's say, setup for how he plays bar. And Sash Korin said it was quite stupid, and they had a BO5 that is actually on my YouTube channel. So if you wanna get a little bit of a precursor for how that series might play out, you can go check it out. I don't want to spoil it for you, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. What about you, LDM? Do you think? How do you feel about this matchup?
I don't know. Like it's really close between the two of them. Like they play each other a lot. I think Thurxie sometimes is his own worst enemy is the only big difference I think between them. Whereas like sometimes he's kind of a more of an emotional player, and he maybe will resign in a game that there's a good chance he could win. And I could see that happening with Thurxie. So I'm kind of leaning towards Sash taking that.
Yeah, I think that's quite true. Right? We've definitely seen Thurxie similar actually to Contra in some of those games where it feels like he just completely throws away a game that he's already won. But these are definitely two strong players. And I think Barcast is right. It's relatively evenly matched. LSR, who are you taking in this?
Thurxie did good, but I'm still voting for Sash just for the time zone reason, to be fair. The Americans have to wake up really early, and I think Sash has no excuses. Last time we had a grudge match, it was like 3 a.m., and he was like, tired, and he picked that one-arm game, so I'm leaning towards that Sash has no excuses and will be able to continue his stellar performances from the group.
All right. Zateo, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is definitely a very close match, right? And I mean, I've seen both of them practice quite a lot recently too. And I know that Thurxie has been practicing with Contra quite a bit. So I would go with Thurxie. I think he's kind of getting over his whole self defeat kind of mindset.
Yeah, he's pretty strong. I played him on shallow straights, and like he randomly won. Like I don't know how he performed so well like on a Navy map. Like I've never seen him play that, right? So it's not like he's
Yeah.
confined to just one play style or.
Yeah, I feel like this one for sure is going to be 2-1 though. But
Yeah,
I would
hope,
give it
right?
to Thurxie.
Yeah, I think it's. I hope it does go 2-1. I think it will be 2-1 as well. I'm sticking with a fellow American. I'm going Thurxie all the way. I believe he's not all the way. Correction. Thurxie is going to win in the round of 8, and I don't think he goes too much further than that. In terms of making it to semifinals, do we all think that Chisato is going to beat out anyone in the top half and make it to semifinals?
Yeah,
Seems likely.
Definitely seems likely.
Very likely, yeah.
All right, so these ones a little bit easier to call up here, but once we move down here, we've got the Alta for Ubivater, and we have Teddy, and this is a little bit of a new school, new school versus old school matchup. But Teddy went 4-0 in Group A, right, and Ubivater went 4-3. He made it all the way to the round 3 elimination to make it through. So yeah, how are we feeling about this one? Barcast, start us off.
Alta 4, I think of like all the upsets, this could be the one we see. You would expect Teddy to win this match, right? But Alta 4 has got a good style. I mean, he's practiced, of course, so should be a good match.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely he took the games off Goopy, right? And that was kind of, a lot of people said, oh, it's going to be Chisato first, Goopy second, and he basically knocked Goopy out of Group A. LDM, what are you thinking?
I mean, I have to vote for Teddy. I do think should be a really good set though between the two of them. Like Alta 4's like really aggressive style versus Teddy's a little more macro play. It'll be really interesting to see like how it plays out. But I have to go for Teddy.
All right. I mean, that's fair. It's a fellow teammate. And LSR, you've always been singing Teddy's praises. Are you going to stick with
Oh
him
yeah,
here?
I think Teddy always like that's my that doesn't it's emotional as well. I just love the style that Teddy plays. I think that style that he plays with LLTs and slow defense, it always looks so good to me. I wish the game would be balanced in favor of that style. So I really hope Teddy wins the whole thing.
All right. Fair enough. And Zateo, thoughts?
I would have to give it to Teddy here as well. I mean, I think Ubavader has, he's like a newer player, right? And I think he's been showing some rather impressive skill. But being a new player, I mean, I just don't think he, I think you need a lot of experience to truly take someone like Teddy on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. I'll also go with Teddy here. I've already done 2 off the wall predictions. I think it's hard for me to bet against Teddy. I made that mistake in round of 16. I'm not going to make it again. Which leads us to our last little showdown here, right? This is the last match. So Zlo and Stardom. And Stardom got out of his groups. He 2-0'd the series and went 4-1 overall. And Zlo went 4-3 overall. I think, LSR, you probably have the most history with these 2 players. How do you think this matchup goes?
I think it's gonna be relatively close with Stardom eking out. Stardom's a better defender and Zlo is kind of aggressive, and Stardom has been able to. It's a basically battle of attrition. They both like resbots, they both like prolonged play, and they like to skirmish. And I feel like Stardom's just a little bit better. And actually, we have history between it. When I think there was one cup where nobody played and Stardom played, and it literally was finals with Stardom and Zlo, and I think Stardom was pretty decisive there and took down the whole thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go Stardom on this.
I like that. Yeah, in terms of history, I didn't even think about that as much. Let's see, where'd they play
Pretty
last?
convincing series, right? The macro cup, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, the macro.
Also did really well there, so maybe he remembers more details. But
for some reason, like I thought Zlo won that, but then y'all reminded me it was Stardom, and it's like it's just so far. But I think that was like last December or something like that.
I think the finals were like 3-1, if I had to guess. It was best of 5 on like a really big maps, but
I can look it up on Challenge real fast.
And also, again, like time zones, maybe they're like. Although if it's played early, you don't know. So it might have been issue that it was probably way too late in Russia as well. So you never know how that plays into the thing. Maybe Zlo is much better at round of 8 than he would if he faced him on the finals.
Yeah,
you have some angle. I do think the players are like reasonably close in the skill, so it boils down to the practice. And sadly, I haven't cheated and I haven't looked up who played how many games. So.
Yeah, I haven't either. Okay, so yeah, I mean, both these players looked really strong in all the games I cast of them. We cast all the round of 8 groups of them. Zlo had that like kind of slower macro style, similar to Teddy in a way, and he felt in control of all the matches that he played, minus his series versus Sash Korin. And that one I actually feel like it was a 2-0, but it felt like it was way closer because game 1 was a very close game, and then game 2, Sash just calm dropped him and won right away. So even though it was a 2-0, it felt like it was really just like a 1-0 because they only really played one legitimate game. I think for me, I'm gonna go Zlo here. Just I don't know, for some reason I feel like he's gonna be strong this one. But what about you, LDM? What do you think?
I mean, they're really close to each other. I think in skill, like it's kind of hard to pick. Like they're both so good. I am kind of leaning towards Stardom. I think he's a little more active in bar than Zlo seems to be recently, but I don't know. Even then, I think I'm gonna have to go for Stardom. It's a hard choice.
So they played 4 games like a week ago, and Stardom looks like had 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, good luck, Wolchak.
We'll see. I gotta stick with it.
3 off meta picks.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean,
love your underdogs, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. I gotta root for him. I mean, the first 2 were Americans. I know I like the Zlo play style, so we'll see. But Zateo, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Lost Deadman on this one. I think I'm not sure how much Zlo has been practicing recently, but Stardom I think is basically just a solid, always in shape kind of player. So I would have to give it to Stardom here.
Barcast.
It's hopefully a 2-1. I'm leaning with you all, thinking Stardom's gonna take this one, but would like to be surprised, right?
Fair enough. All right, so in terms of the semifinalist for top, I think it's kind of like, all right, it's going to be most likely Chisato, or if my underdog story plays out, it'll probably be Contra. But for the bottom, I think it's a lot more difficult, right? I feel like all four of those players on bottom, Ubivatar, Teddy, Zlo, or Stardom could potentially make it to the semis. Are you guys favoring Teddy, or what do we think?
I mean, once again, right? It's hard to bet against Teddy. I don't know. The man's got a lot of experience in bar.
LSR, are you on Teddy with this one too? Do you think Stardom could unseat him if Teddy beats Ubivatar?
Maybe I go. No, I love Teddy. I think this is good. Teddy Stardom is really close. They always have like a nice scuffle with Teddy barely winning. I think Stardom is definitely capable of possibly taking, but I have to go with Teddy. Yeah,
that's fair. Barcast.
Yeah, Teddy takes the semifinal, advances to the finals.
Zateo, are you on board with these people?
Teddy OP.
Oh God! All right.
Yep.
I don't.
That could be a 2-1 as well, though. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We should have a lot of quality series tomorrow. I'm really excited for all these matches.
A lot of good games.
I am pumped. All right, so if it goes to semis, it seems like most people are thinking it's going to be Chisato and Teddy. How does that play out?
I mean, last time it was Chisato that came ahead, right? I think the last was it Alpha Cup, right, where it was Chisato versus Teddy, and Chisato ended up coming out ahead. Like it seems like it's hard again to bet against Chisato.
I mean, yeah, I think that's right. And then in round of 16, BPL season 2, Chisato also bumped Teddy out, although Teddy famously hadn't been practicing, as LSR and Barcast were talking about. But Barcast, what do you think actually for that one? Semis, Chisato, Teddy, who takes that?
It'll be a grand finals, no?
Oh yeah, grand finals. Sorry.
It's a best of 5, and I've got Chisato winning 3-1 over Teddy.
Boy. LSR, you saying Chisato? You saying Teddy?
For the finals or for the I think I'm gonna go safe pick, conservative pick, which I had in challenge, and it is Chisato.
A lot of Chisato enjoyers here.
Even though I would wish really for Teddy to win.
I'm with you.
LSR going Teddy, and LSR going Chisato. Barcast going Chisato. LDM, you also said Chisato?
But secretly wishing it was Teddy, but yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so instead of just sitting on the fence, what you're really saying is you're going Chisato.
Yes.
Okay. Zateo?
I would also go Chisato.
Yeah, I kind of have to go Chisato as well, especially considering that I don't even if Zlo can make it to semis, I don't think Zlo can take Chisato if he goes that deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Teddy OP, but Chisato perhaps even more OP.
Yeah.
At least right now.
Chisato, it seems like he's just more active, right? He just plays a lot of bar, and Teddy doesn't play that much, or he doesn't just isn't able to as much anymore, and I don't know.
Paid the iron price, right?
Yeah,
that is 100% true. So that is the round of 8, which is actually starting tomorrow, and it'll be cast on the official Beyond All Reason Twitch, so you can find it there. This is on a playlist. You can find all the other matches from qualifiers and round of 16 on this if you just go back in it. But Barcast, I think you have set up a way for people to do predictions of their own.
Yeah, that's right. If you go to the link in the description, it'll take you to a challenge page where you can do a prediction for the bracket, select a winner. So be sure to get those in there for tomorrow.
Oh Oh yeah, and I think that's it from all of us, unless there's some final announcements from any of these illustrious casters.
And dead silence is your answer.
Nope.
We got nothing.
That would be a no. All right, gentlemen, let's get rested up. It's going to be a long, but I think pretty awesome day of bar tomorrow.
Those are always the best.
All right, team. We will see all of you bright and early if you're American, or a bit later on if you're European on Saturday. And let's hope for some good games.
Cheers.